Hello, everybody. Happy Earth Day. Uh, Today's the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. And every year on Earth Day, I like to give a little presentation to the classes. And just, I like to, uh, see what we can do or what I can do or what you can do to better this Earth that we're on. Because we could always do something to help out. And so this year I made a little presentation. I call it Earth Day 2020. What can I do? A few years ago, just off, I don't know where it came from, but I came up with this idea Earth Day resolutions. And Earth Day resolution is just a way that we can celebrate Earth Day because there's no real great way to celebrate Earth Day. And this is the way that I thought would be a great idea because Earth Day is all about improving and changing and making a better world. Well, the only way to really make a better world for everyone is if you decide to make yourself better in some way to help out this earth that we're on. Okay, so Earth Day resolutions. Now, here's a few things that I thought would help make your resolution, and then I'll go over a few things that I have done in the past just to give you an idea. Um, Choose just one thing that you can do different. Maybe littering, right? Uh, Maybe it's something simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. Just choose that one thing. Make it something attainable, a goal that you can do, something that you can do all year long or for the rest of your life. And be consistent. Even if you fall off and you do something wrong and you break this resolution, that doesn't mean that it's over. You can start again and start again and start again. It's just about being consistent, and if you fall off the wagon, you get right back on, and you can do that. Okay, so I'm going to go over a few things that I've done in the past to try to, as an Earth Day resolution, and these are things that I've stuck with, and there's a few other things in here because I've been doing this for like 15 years, maybe 20, I don't know. Here's one. Now, this when I first did this, it was not LED, but it was the compact fluorescence. It was Earth Day. I don't know what year, and my big resolution was going to be to get rid of the incandescent light bulbs. They just burn too much energy, and so I went and replaced every light bulb in my house with the compact fluorescent. But that's kind of outdated now. Now LEDs are more efficient. Uh, they are cost effective. They cost a little bit more up front. The price is dropping all the time, but it costs a little bit more up front, but they last longer and they use less energy, which means you don't have to pay as much for electricity. So it's a great deal, and it helps because you're using less electricity and you're not having so much waste. You don't have to throw your light bulbs away every few months like in the good old days. This is one that I did just 2 years ago. I gave up styrofoam cups. You know me, I gotta have my coffee every morning. But I decided I was gonna skip the styrofoam. I got myself a nice little coffee mug, or I have a thermos too that I use. Someone gave me that nice little periodic table mug that I use in class now. I love it, right? Styrofoam is not a good alternative, right? It leaches into the drink. The styrofoam will leach into the drink. If you burn styrofoam, it still depletes the ozone layer. And it's cheaper if you have a refillable mug. You don't have to pay for the cup. And they make bargains for you, so you save money that way. So if you can get rid of the styrofoam, get rid of the styrofoam. It's a great way. The cups are better anyway. I get a bigger cup. I get more coffee. It costs me less money. That is a great deal, right? And so that was an easy one to do. Sometimes I forget my cup. I leave it at school. You know what? I think I'm going to say 5 times. 5 times this year I have forgot my cup, right? And I use the styrofoam. you know what? I just didn't give up altogether. I just went right back. The next day, I remembered to bring my cup home, right? So skip the styrofoam. 5 styrofoam cups is still better than 365 styrofoam cups. Okay. Oh, this is one I did a long time ago. The reusable grocery bags. I know now everybody's like, oh yeah, they're all over the place. Back when I first started doing this, I had to order it out of the back of Mother Earth News. I don't know if you guys know what that magazine is, but and they were cloth bags. And the only problem was the only way I could get these bags, it said the bag lady on it, and my bags had the bag lady. And I would take them into the store, and people would like the lady at Walmart. She wants to put 3 things in each bag, so she started filling up her plastic bags, and she was going to put those inside my other bag. I'm like, I don't want the plastic bag. Oh, you're serious about that? Now it's a little bit more common. Now they know what to do. But if you can skip that plastic bag, that plastic, and I know it's kind of cliche. They say, oh yeah, they're killing the sea turtles. They eat that plastic bag because they think it's a jellyfish. But it's still, there's too much plastic in the ocean. And, well, we don't live that close to the ocean, but those plastic bags are everywhere, right? You drive around, and it's a little bit better since people have been using their own bags. But you drive around, you see the plastic flying around. It floats up like a balloon. It flies into the sky. I've seen them out in the woods, out in the middle of nowhere, just filled with water and mosquito swarming all around it. It's not a good thing. So get yourself some reusable grocery bags. Throw it in the back of your car. It's easy. The bags are bigger. You can fill them up. They're stronger. It's great. Oh my gosh, if you know me at all, plant a garden. You know, what could be more fun than being out there in the garden? Here's a picture of my garden. I think this was last year. Um, you know, go big or go home, right? No, you just plant a garden. It reduces your carbon footprint. You won't have to go to the store as much, right? You're also taking in some of that carbon dioxide uh, when the plants breathe in, they breathe in carbon dioxide, and so you're reducing carbon. You have plenty of things to share with your friends. You can have people over. You can fry up some tomato sandwiches. Oh, they're so good. You can make sauce and give your friends. And you know me, I make my hot sauce and my pickles, and it just tastes better. And you always have plenty to share. And anytime anybody comes over my house, it's the garden tour. Hey, you guys ready for the garden tour? Or they ask to go on the garden tour. So gardening, a great hobby, and it's also great for the environment. Oops. Oops, I'm going backwards here. Let me go back. Oh, right with gardening, uh, this is make a compost pile. A compost pile, you just take anything plant-based. It could be food scraps. It can be coffee grounds. It could be anything that's plant-based. Don't use meat in this. Don't use dog poop in this. Uh, right? If you use meat in there, it's going to bring in the scavengers and that kind of thing, and you don't want that. But you take that and you throw it in a pile. That's all you really have to do. Now, you can be more complicated than that. If you look up online how to make a compost pile, there'll be books about it. But if you just pile it up somewhere out of the way, it could be your grass clippings, it could be anything. And then it will break down and it will turn into soil. Black gold, we call it, right? And you put that back in your garden every year, and it puts those nutrients right back in the garden. Now, you want it to get hot. When you compost these things, it'll break down and go through decomposition, and it will get hot. I mean, so hot that you can hardly touch it. You make a hot compost pile, it kills those weed seeds if there's any weed seeds in there, and then you don't have to worry about replanting weeds back into your garden. So if you're going to do that and you're going to put it in your garden and you're going to use weeds, make sure you look online and find out what they're doing. Right? I like to do a little bit of lasagna gardening also, which means that I stack up the compost in piles and have the whole garden's a compost pile. Right? And also the best part about compost, my wife doesn't believe this, but when you have a good compost pile, oh, that smells so good. Get in there and the smell of compost. Okay, slide's not changing now. Oh my goodness, now I have plugging. But it's pick up trash. First of all, don't litter at all, but you go out and you pick up some trash. Take a bag out. Now, right now, because of the COVID-19, wear gloves, right? Wear a mask if you want to. Be safe. Don't go out there and risk it right now. Maybe wait till later, right? But go out there and get some exercise. You get to get your walk in and you pick up some trash alongside the road. It just makes everything look nicer, and plus we're reducing that amount of trash. A great social distancing activity. Again, wear gloves, wear a mask right now, just to be safe. There's this thing called plogging. It became popular a few years ago. You go out and you jog, and as you're jogging, you pick up trash and you take it back with you. Right? So there's all sorts of little things like that you can do. You know how it is. You see trash, you pick it up. But right now, be careful, because we don't want to bring in the coronavirus back into our houses. So you might want to skip this one for right now, but it doesn't mean you can't do it later. Oh, you know what? We just don't, I should say this, we just drive too much. We drive all over the place, right? How many times have you and maybe your family members all going the same place, but you even take separate cars, right? You can walk a little bit more. You can bicycle a little bit more. Save some gas money, decrease your carbon footprint, and plus it's fun and it's great exercise, right? I used to bike to work. I couldn't do that too many times because 67 was just too dangerous. So, be smart about it. Don't put yourself in harm's way. But there are little things you can do. If you can take a bike or you can walk instead of drive, that's a great thing. Oh, and if you know Mr. Arnold at all, you know that he is always with his handy dandy refillable water bottle. I have about 5 of them. Reusable water bottles reduce the amount of plastic that we have. There's too much plastic. I always see people with water bottles, plastic water bottles, and they'll drink a plastic water bottle, they'll throw it away, and they're using 5 of those a day, right? That's a lot of plastic. You go into the school recycling thing, and there's filled with plastic bottles, right? Why not just buy a bottle? It doesn't have to be expensive. It can be like something, inexpensive and cheap, and save yourself money. You fill it up 10 times, and that's $10 worth of water that you were buying. So be smart about that. Look how much plastic there is on that right side picture. There's just too much plastic out there. And it either ends up in the ocean or it ends up polluting the ground, and it takes forever to break down. And you guys have heard that story a lot of different times. Recycle. And this is back the old, recycle. You guys know I live out in the country. I used to burn my trash. One year my Earth Day resolution was to stop burning trash. You know what? And I didn't even really burn that much stuff, but I decided that I was going to recycle all I could and then stop the burning. And by recycling, you reduce that amount of waste you're putting in the landfill again. You're keeping that plastic, out of the landfill. And also, you're conserving those natural resources. Plastic's made out of crude oil, right? So it's made out of crude oil. And if we can save oil and not use it, we're reducing pollution. Also, it creates jobs. You know how many jobs they have out there at the recycling center. They do a good job of recycling. I take my stuff out. You know, I live out in the country, so they don't come and pick it up there. Curbside stuff. We have to drive there. So uh, I just did it the other day, Monday, right? I drove to the recycling center and dropped my stuff off. It's not that big of a hassle. It's kind of fun to do, but we sort your stuff out, and it's a great way to reduce waste. Here's a picture. That picture right there, that's an outhouse from the Depression era, and that was at my uncle's house before we tore his house down. And I took it home and I redid it, and so there's an outhouse that I restored. But that's not part of the thing here, right? I'm not saying use an outhouse, but what I am saying is try to plant native plants. Right now, you always hear, "Oh, let's go plant a tree." Yeah, that's great. Plant a tree is great if you have the space, but you can be as simple as planting some native wildflowers. Right? You can plant some wildflowers. That'll give a place for the insects to live. That'll give for the birds, and it's also can be really pretty. So native wildflowers are a great addition to anybody's yard. And plus, since they're native, you don't have to care for them all that much. You put them in the ground, they grow. And just like nature, they're there because they're from this area, so they will be able to survive the winter. They'll survive the drought and everything else. So a great addition to the lawn. Plus, it's good for the environment and good for those native insects. We don't do enough for the bees, and I'm not talking about the honeybees. I'm talking about the native bees and pollinators. They need to have flowers that are naturally from this area. And so if you can plant those, that's a win for the bees. All right, now I'm going to close off. Now those are just some things that I have done over the years, but I'm going to close this off by just some quotes that I found, and I thought they were pretty moving, so I just thought I'd add these to the presentation. We do not inherit the earth from our ancestors. We borrow it from our children. And that is so true, because I know you guys are all young and you don't have any children, but someday you may have children, and your children will have children, and you want them to have the same nice stuff that you have, right? You want them to be able to go out and go for a walk at the reservoir and all that nice stuff. So take care of what we have so we can share it with our children. This is a little grimmer. For 200 years we've been conquering nature, and now we're beating it to death. Right? The Industrial Revolution hasn't been that long ago. It hasn't taken that long for us to pollute this earth. We have to stop. We have to quit injuring the earth. And, you don't feel like there's much that you can do because the earth is so big and you're so small. But just by doing just a little teeny bit, if anybody does just a little small bit, that little bit does add up, and it will help. This is sad. I just saw this picture. I didn't have anything to put with it, but it just makes me feel sad. Only when the last tree has died, and the last river has been poisoned, and the last fish has been caught, will we realize that we cannot eat money. That's from a old Cree Indian proverb. So what we're saying here is that we need the resources. We can't deplete everything. We need all those things. And it's not money, it's not credit cards, it's not that kind of thing that we need. We need the resources. And if we don't take care of the earth, we're not going to have those resources. All right, well, um, that's all I really wanted to share today. So, our assignment for this is not like an assignment that we have where there's something written or you have to turn it in, because, you know, a resolution probably isn't something that you want to share with everybody. It's something you probably want to keep personal. You can share it. I mean, I just shared some of mine with you, but it's your own determination, and you're the one who's going to have to follow up on all the things that you decide that you maybe want to do. But keep it simple, right? Keep it simple. And if you can just have a nice attainable goal, I'm going back to my second slide there. If you can just choose one thing to do this year, and something that you can do, something that is attainable by you, and you're consistent, and you forgive yourself and keep going even if you do mess up, because we all mess up, because we're right, that's human nature. And I think that your little difference that you do could make a huge difference for this earth. So that's all I wanted to share. So happy Earth Day, everybody. um, as we heard the other day, our school year, uh, our going back to school and seeing each other is not going to happen this year. So, um, so this is how we're going to do this till the end of the year. So, stay strong and be safe. And we I miss you guys. This would be much more fun if we had class today, because I would have a much bigger presentation, and we would have questions, and we could talk about other things, and it'd be spur of the moment, and we could answer those questions, and we can have some meaningful discussions. But that's not the way it's going to work this year. So again, have a happy Earth Day, and remember, you can make a difference